So the price has been set for Elliot Anderson to leave Forest. Loads of talk about the back rooms ins and outs. And what's going on with Edu? Let's get into it. Welcome to your Forest News. Hi guys, hope you're doing well and welcome to the end of the season. I've never smiled so much in my life. Coming up on today's video, we'll talk you through Elliot Anderson. Is he going? Is he staying? How much? And all this stuff. We'll tell you about the backroom shenanigans that's been going on this season at Forest. And don't forget to get your shirts from OK Jerseys. You can get the England shirt. This is the World Cup one. £15. Use code FFTV. Makes it even cheaper. You get a further 8% off. Links pinned in the comments. Okay, let's get into the news. Now, John Percy's put out an article in... Who does he work for again? Telegraph, isn't it, I think? Yeah, the Telegraph. Talking about a lot of the stuff that's happened over the year with Forest, with the managers, with the players that might be leaving, Marinakis, his ambitions and everything else. It's a long article and I'll take you through a few kind of key headlines of it in just a second. But the general expectation is that, as we keep saying to you here on the channel, Forest want to keep those core players. Likes of Gibbs-White, likes of Murillo, who's already signed a new contract. Elliot Anderson. If there was one going to leave of the three, it would probably be Elliot Anderson. I'm hearing Elliot Anderson isn't really that fussed on going, so I think it would be a club thing if an offer came in that was too high. Now, Marinakis is going to play hardball with Elliot Anderson. He's not going to just say, oh, okay, you've come in. Oh, Man City. Oh, 115, you've come in. You want to offer me 60 million for Anderson? Yeah, cool, no problem. How about I give you half price on that? No, he's benchmarking him against Caicedo, who went for 115 million to Chelsea. When was it? 2 or 3 years ago? And he's using that as the benchmark. And you know what? He's well within his rights too, because on top of that, what Anderson has going for him that Caicedo doesn't is that he's homegrown, or Caicedo might be homegrown actually, and English tax as well, and proven in the Premier League over the last 2 seasons. And on top of that, you got the World Cup. He'll be wearing this shirt and he'll be balling out as well. As I keep saying to you guys, my full expectation is that Forest will not do anything on Anderson until after the World Cup, because if they are thinking about selling him, then this will kind of put him in front of the world stage and other clubs may come in and may look at a bidding war. Now, on top of that, here's the key thing. Forest are in no PSR trouble whatsoever. Elanga's sale of the 55 million from last summer went into this year's books, so we are way clear of where we need to be. So players don't actually need to be sold to balance the books or anything like that. They may be sold to make a war chest to bring in new players. However, the expectation still is that Forest are not looking to recruit heavily. What Pereira's been saying, what Marinakis has been saying, is that they want to keep the core of the squad and have a quiet summer where we're maybe looking at 3 or 4 players. Now, that's quite a busy summer for most clubs, but when we do like 30 million players in the summer, you can see why that sounds quiet. Will that be the plan though? I don't know. It depends, because I expect there to be interest for the likes of Gibbs-White this summer, and for Murillo, and for maybe Nico Williams. Now, Murillo signing a new contract does not really change anything. If, for example, let's just say Real Madrid came in and offered Forest 80 million for Murillo, new contract or not, Murillo may want to go or whatever. I'm just using Murillo as an example. New contracts don't necessitate that players will stay. But let's get into some of these headlines on the article, because there's a bit about Edu as well. So he goes on, and I'll just paraphrase a lot of it because it's a long article. But he talks about, I'll tell you some of the stuff that came up in here that was quite interesting, was the stuff on Nuno. But anyway, so he talks about the 4 managers that were there. We all know the background on the story of this, but this was quite a nice line. It says, when Pereira came in, Pereira's put an arm around the players and allowed them to play with freedom. On his first day, he addressed them and said, if this goes wrong, it's on me and not you. He understood the player power, or the player motivation, if you like. We know why Sean Dyche went, because they hated him, and you can't blame them for that because he's an idiot. But he kind of came in and just settled how everyone was feeling. So much up people, blah, blah, blah. I'm just trying to find the main bits here. Where's the Elliot Anderson? So much. This article. Here we go. Forest will now prepare for the summer and are determined to retain the core of their squad. That is a stance supported by Marinakis and Pereira. There is an acceptance that Elliot Anderson will be in high demand and may be sold. Man City and Manchester United are both very interested, and a decent World Cup for the midfielder could bring other heavyweights onto the table. Yet Forest will only sell him at market value. And Marinakis is using the £115 million sale of Caicedo from Brighton to Chelsea in 2023 as the benchmark. It means Anderson is likely to eclipse the transfer record for an English player set by Declan Rice for £105 million 3 years ago. Okay, so we'll come back to that in just a second. And then he goes on to say as well, Forest expect interest with Gibbs White, potentially Nico Williams, but they want to keep him. Murillo, we know, has signed it, and there's confirmation as well of the PSR stuff. And you can add into that actually Danilo, the 19 million sale. Still don't think we should have sold him. Ramon Sosa, I completely forgot about him. We got 10 million. Now, the other interesting point is on McAtee and some of the quote-unquote duds from this season. Forest are adamant that these will come good. So let me just read you this bit on McAtee. The club's position on McAtee, the £25 million signing is the same as it was in January. Rival clubs inquired about the under-21 internationals' availability after limited opportunities in the season for Forest to support him. And then this is a quote they're saying from Forest officials, but we know Pereira said this. There are things McAtee can do in training that nobody else can do. Then it goes on to say they believe McAtee will flourish next season, which is a belief shared for many of the other signings from last summer. One likely sale, however, will be forward Callum Mwendo to Frankfurt, with his loan converted to a permanent deal worth 23 million. Now that's interesting because Frankfurt were trying to negotiate that. So I don't know how set that is yet, but we will wait and see on it. And as I said to you guys earlier, Forest do not expect to do too much business over the next few months. They may look for cover in some areas, but it's understood it could be relatively quiet with up to 4 new signings. This is Forest though, and anything can happen. And on that point, I fully agree. So a couple of interesting points there. 115 million. Look, I'll be honest with you. I think Elliot Anderson is worth about 80 million. I would say that's a respectable number, right? But when you add homegrown, when you add English tax, when you add a World Cup tax incoming, when you add his position in terms of what he does, there's not many players that can do it. You could argue Wharton, okay? You could argue Caicedo. I think Anderson's had a better season than both of them. Those kind of players are very, very limited. And those are the positions that actually sell for a lot. You've seen Caicedo's example. We talked about Declan Rice as well. These are expensive players because what they can offer the team, because of how important they become to that spine, that structure of it. That's why they can go for so much money. So I think, and also we know Marinakis is the main man when it comes to negotiations, and no one's going to mess with him. I mean, we all saw, well, I don't know if you saw it. Excuse me. Shout out to Kitty for sending the clips of Marinakis getting messed with at a basketball game yesterday. There's a short, so if you go onto our YouTube page, if you haven't seen the footage, Marinakis' shirt's all ripped up and stuff, man. 6-pack out, pecs out and everything. Go check that out as well after this video. So I think I'm still not sure what happens with Anderson. Okay, we'll see how it develops. I could make my prediction now. It could change tomorrow. It could change in 6 weeks' time after the World Cup. But what I understand is Anderson's not pushing for any kind of move. He's happy to stay at Forest. But if Forest have to sell him, then fine, he would go, right? He's not going to freaking hold us to ransom or anything like that. And also, with Pep Guardiola leaving Man City and freaking that Timu version of him coming in Maresca, is that really the project he was sold beforehand? Now, I've seen a lot of Man City accounts. I say a lot. There's not many, is there? They've got like 2 fans. But I've seen a lot of them trying to show these weird pictures of Anderson meeting with their sporting director, having dinner with them and all this rubbish. It doesn't even look like Anderson for a start. They're just trying to hype up the sale. And then Manchester United thinking they can even afford him is hilarious in itself. There's so much going on as well. Look, the Edu stuff, just to give you the background on it, Edu is still expected to leave. Apparently he annoyed Marinakis when we beat Liverpool 3-0 at Anfield. basically he left before full time. I don't know if he had to go get his makeup redone or whatever it was, but that annoyed Marinakis because he's basing everything on the theme of family and togetherness when it comes to Forest, and he expected Edu to be there to share in with the celebration, congratulate the players and everything else, and that didn't happen. And that's where the relationship started to break down. Edu also wasn't feeling like he was getting full reign over all three clubs. So he doesn't feel he got promised what he was promised in terms of the job role. And then the relationship started to kind of separate between the two. Apparently their working relationship wasn't brilliant. I think Percy was going on about as well how Edu did have a nice relationship with backroom staff in Forest. I've heard differently, so maybe some liked him, maybe some didn't, to the stage where he wasn't even allowed. All those things that we heard about Edu being locked out of the City ground and everything else, that was around the sacking of Sean Dyche. So he wasn't allowed into the board meeting where they were deciding to sack Sean Dyche or not. He basically had to sit in his car in the car park for like 2 hours while they came to the decision. So expect an announcement on Edu shortly. Now that the season's over, I expect that to come out soon. But expect a lot more stuff when it comes to Forest, man, because it's never ending with this club. But there you go. I'll wait your whistle of what to expect for this summer. So get your thoughts in, all of that below. Make sure you've liked and subscribed. Check out OK Jerseys as well. Use code FFTV and go get your World Cup shirts. And check out the player ratings. I'll leave them for the end screen if you didn't catch them yesterday, because we still haven't beat Boring Mouth. Come on, you Reds.